Hello, my name is Leland and welcome to my kitchen. There's a Turkish proverb that says coffee should be black as hell, strong as death, and sweet as love. That's a pretty strong statement, almost as strong as Turkish coffee itself. Today, I will teach you what Turkish coffee is and how to brew it right at home. I've been a coffee drinker all my life, and recently I had Turkish coffee and fell in love with the strong, rich flavors. I'm no barista, but with the help of the internet, I found easy to follow recipes on sites such as turkishcoffeeworld.com, how to make Turkish coffee, and giverrecipe.com, how to make Turkish coffee. There are many recipes online to choose from, and they all have simple steps that are easy to follow with very little deviation, all of which will give you an exceptional cup of coffee. What is Turkish coffee? It's a style of unfiltered brewing that dates back nearly 500 years to the days of the Ottoman Empire. This unique style of brewing uses an extra fine grind of coffee that is brewed in the pot with the water. Doing so actually re-roasts the coffee beans and gives it a very rich, thick flavor. With a little practice, you can easily master a 500-year-old tradition. What do you need? Turkish coffee is made with any coffee bean, and spices can be added for flavor. I have two brands, one with just coffee and one with cardamom added. You can readily buy online in most major grocery chains or Middle Eastern Mediterranean markets. You may also grind your own. So on the left, I have Turkish coffee that has the cardamom, and Turkish coffee is an extra fine grind, so it feels like powder or like flour consistency. In the middle is just regular Turkish coffee. It too, extra fine grind, flour consistency, as compared to what you would put in your coffee pot every morning, which is sand-like. Now that we have a basic understanding of the type of coffee we use and why, it's time to learn what utensils we will need and the steps in actually brewing Turkish coffee. Traditionally, Turkish coffee is brewed in a copper pot called a shezva. This copper pot with a long handle. And is served in a 3-ounce porcelain cup. And we will also need a teaspoon for measuring. You can buy a shezva and a Turkish coffee sets off of Amazon. I will be following a recipe provided by Asigil Sanford in her article published March 17th, 2019 in Foolproof Living, titled How to Make Turkish Coffee. And to start with, we'll use 1 heaping teaspoon of coffee per cup that we're going to brew. And I'm going to brew 3 cups, so I'm going to take 3 heaping teaspoons. And now we'll add sugar for taste. If you want a lightly sweet, you'll do a 1-to-2 ratio. So 1 scoop of sugar to 2 scoops of coffee. Now, if you want a mildly sweet, you'll do 1-to-1. And then if you want a very sweet, you'll do 2 scoops of sugar to 1 scoop of coffee. I like mine mildly sweet. You can mix that in there. Now it's time to add water. So I have a measuring cup full of water here, but that is not the cup size we use when measuring. We'll use the porcelain cup. We're brewing 3 cups So that is our cup that we're measuring. 1, 2, 3. Now we can give that a stir. And next, we're going to add it to the heat. We're going to add that to medium heat, and we will stir that as it warms up and dissolves that sugar. But once it starts to foam, we're going to stop. Begin the foam. Next, we're going to be looking for a dark ring to foam to form around the edges. And once that happens, we'll remove it from the heat and scoop the foam on the top of the coffee into our serving cups, just the foam. Okay, you can now see the dark ring that's formed. You can go ahead and take that off. And we can scoop it into our cup. Now as you're scooping, you get a little into each cup. That way we try to keep the consistency of the taste in each cup. All right, next we'll replace the coffee on the heat, and then once it foams up again, we'll remove it from the heat and let it sit for a minute. And while it sits, all the coffee grounds will be settling to the bottom of the pot. Okay, so we got another head of foam here. Now we're going to remove it turn the heat off, and we're going to let it sit. One thing that you don't want to do is you do not want it to boil. That's one thing to watch while you're brewing. Okay, now that we let our coffee sit for a minute, it's time to pour. Now as you pour, you'll want to pour some in one cup, not filling it up, just a little at a time, and then in the next. Now doing so is going to help keep consistency in the taste of the coffee. The deeper you go in the pot, the thicker it is in coffee grounds. In conclusion, you now know what Turkish coffee is and how to brew it at home. Without any real skill, you can brew up a cup of Turkish coffee like a barista. You only need a shezva, coffee, sugar, water, and bring them to a simmer, and then enjoy.